I never thought I'd have to expose my own brother in front of our entire company board, but Marcus left me no choice. My name is Alexander Mitchell, and this is the story of how I protected our family's legacy from being stolen by the last person I expected to betray us. Our father, James Mitchell, built Mitchell Innovations from nothing, starting in our garage 30 years ago. He transformed his small tech repair shop into a $40 million technology solutions company. Dad always taught us that success comes from integrity, innovation, and treating your employees like family. Unfortunately, my brother seemed to miss that last lesson entirely. Growing up, Marcus was always the outgoing one, charming, social, and seemingly perfect for taking over the family business one day. I was quieter, more interested in the technical side of things. While Marcus was winning speaking competitions and leading school clubs, I was in the garage with Dad, learning how our products worked from the inside out. Alex, understanding the heart of what we build is just as important as knowing how to sell it, Dad would say, showing me how to repair circuit boards when I was just 12. Those moments in the garage shaped who I became: a problem solver, an innovator, someone who cared about the details. But Dad never played favorites. He made sure both Marcus and I learned every aspect of the business. At least, that's what we thought he was doing. Looking back now, I realize Dad was watching us more carefully than we knew. When Marcus and I joined the company after college, we took different paths. I went into research and development, while Marcus headed straight for sales and marketing. Under Dad's leadership, we both rose through the ranks based on merit, not just our last name. Both of you have different strengths, Dad would say during our family dinners. Together, you could take this company to heights I never imagined. Everything changed 6 months ago when Dad was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him 3 months at most. Instead of spending his remaining time in a hospital, Dad chose to work until the end, making sure everything was in order. One evening, about a week after his diagnosis, Dad called me to his home office. He looked tired but determined. "Alex, I need you to do something for me," he said, pulling out a small black device. "This is a recording device. I want you to keep it with you during all company meetings for the next few months. Don't tell anyone about it, not even Marcus." I was confused but agreed. Dad had never steered me wrong before. "Trust me, son," he said, squeezing my shoulder. "Sometimes the truth needs a witness." Over the next 2 months, I recorded every meeting as Dad requested. Most were routine budget discussions, product launches, strategy sessions. Marcus was becoming more assertive in these meetings, often talking over others and pushing his agenda. I noticed Dad watching him carefully but saying nothing. Then, 3 weeks before Dad passed away, something strange happened. Marcus started having private meetings with board members, always one-on-one. I caught snippets of conversations about restructuring and new direction. Dad seemed to know something was happening, but he just nodded when I tried to bring it up. "Keep recording, Alex," was all he'd say. "Everything will become clear when it needs to." Dad passed away peacefully in his sleep 2 weeks ago. The entire company was devastated. He wasn't just our CEO, he was the heart and soul of Mitchell Innovations. The funeral was beautiful, with hundreds of employees coming to pay their respects. Many shared stories about how Dad had helped them through tough times, given them chances when no one else would. That's when Marcus started changing. It was subtle at first, taking over Dad's office without discussion, rescheduling meetings without consulting anyone, making decisions unilaterally. Then came the rumors about massive layoffs and selling off our research division, the division I led. Yesterday, Marcus called an emergency board meeting. As I walked into the boardroom, I could feel the tension. Our 12 board members sat around the massive oak table, many of them looking uncomfortable. Marcus stood at the head of the table, Dad's spot, with a thick folder in front of him. "Thank you all for coming," Marcus began, his voice dripping with artificial sympathy. "As we all continue to mourn our father's passing, we must also look to the future of Mitchell Innovations. That's why I've called this meeting." He opened the folder and started passing out documents. 2 weeks before his death, Dad signed new corporate documents. As his eldest son and the one he trusted most, he left me in complete control of the company. "These papers give me full voting rights and executive power." The board members started murmuring. Looking through the documents, I felt my heart race but remembered the recording device in my pocket. Dad's words echoed in my mind, "Everything will become clear when it needs to." Furthermore, Marcus continued, "I've developed a strategic plan to streamline our operations. We'll be selling off the research division and focusing entirely on sales and distribution. It's what Dad wanted, to maximize profitability." That's when I knew I had to act. Dad would never have wanted to sell off RD, it was the innovation heart of our company. I stood up slowly, pulling out my phone. Before we continue, I think we should hear what Dad really wanted, I said, connecting my phone to the projector. Marcus, would you like to explain these recordings, or should I play them? Marcus's confident smile faltered slightly. What recordings? This is hardly the time for dash. I pressed play. The screen came to life with footage from 2 months ago. Marcus in Dad's office, thinking they were alone. Come on, Dad, you need to sign these papers now. Marcus's voice rang out. You're sick. Let me take control before it's too late. Dad's tired but firm voice replied. No, Marcus, this company needs both you and your brother. I've already made arrangements. Alex? He's a glorified technician. He doesn't understand business like I do. Just sign the papers. Nobody needs to know about this conversation. The board watched in shocked silence as the recording continued, showing Marcus becoming increasingly aggressive, even threatening to contest any will or company structure that didn't put him in complete control. But that wasn't the most damaging recording. I played another from last week. Marcus meeting with our biggest competitor, discussing selling them our proprietary technology at a fraction of its value in exchange for a personal kickback. The boardroom erupted in chaos. Marcus lunged for my phone, but our head of security, who I'd quietly asked to attend, stopped him. This is all fake, Marcus shouted. He's doctored these recordings. I pulled out another device from my pocket, the original recorder Dad had given me. This is the source. Marcus, Dad knew what you were planning. He wanted the truth to come out. The board chairman, Mr. Peterson, stood up. I think we need to call an immediate vote. These recordings show clear attempts at corporate fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. You can't do this, Marcus sputtered. I have signed documents. Actually, I said, pulling out one final envelope. Dad left these with his lawyer. They're the real company succession documents, witnessed and notarized 3 months ago. He left joint leadership to both of us. Marcus, he wanted us to work together. The next hour was intense. The board voted unanimously to suspend Marcus pending a full investigation. Security escorted him from the building, his threats of lawsuits echoing down the hallway. As the boardroom cleared out, Mr. Peterson approached me. Your father told me to give you this after the truth came out, he said, handing me a sealed letter. I opened it with trembling hands. Dear Alex, if you're reading this, then you've discovered what your brother was planning. I'm sorry I had to put you in this position, but I needed to know if Marcus would choose integrity or greed when tested. You've always understood that Mitchell Innovations is more than just profits, it's about innovation, people, and doing what's right. I've watched you both since you were boys. While Marcus learned to charm and manipulate, you learned to build and create. The recording device wasn't just to catch your brother's schemes, it was to prove to the board that you have the wisdom to lead. The company needs both technical innovation and business acumen to succeed. I hoped Marcus would understand this, but he chose a different path. Now it's up to you to find the right partners to move forward. Remember what I taught you in the garage, success isn't just about what you build, but why you build it, led with integrity, innovation, and compassion. I'm proud of you, son. Love, Dad. The aftermath of the board meeting was intense. News of Marcus's attempted takeover and subsequent removal spread quickly through the company. Many employees came forward with stories of his recent inappropriate behavior and attempts to bully them into supporting his plans. The investigation revealed that Marcus had been planning this for months. He had forged documents, manipulated financial records, and even tried to bribe several board members. The evidence was overwhelming, and the board voted to terminate his employment permanently. But the hardest part wasn't the legal battles or restructuring the company, it was dealing with the personal betrayal. Marcus was my brother, and despite everything, part of me still hoped he would realize his mistakes and make amends. Instead, he launched a vicious media campaign, claiming I had orchestrated a coup against him. He hired expensive lawyers and tried to challenge everything in court, but Dad's foresight with the recordings and documentation meant every case was dismissed. 1 year has passed since that dramatic board meeting. Mitchell Innovations has grown stronger than ever. We've expanded our research division, launched 3 new product lines, and our employee satisfaction rates are at an all-time high. I often think about those days in the garage with Dad, learning not just about technology, but about values. He knew that the real threat to his legacy might come from within our own family, and he prepared for it with the same careful attention to detail he gave to everything else. Marcus eventually gave up his legal battles and moved across the country. Last I heard, He was trying to start his own company, but investors were wary given his history. Sometimes I wonder if he ever understood what Dad was trying to teach us, that true success comes from building something meaningful, not just profitable. The recording device sits in a frame on my office wall now, next to Dad's old workbench tools from the garage. It's a reminder that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch most carefully, and that truth has a way of coming out when it needs to. We've instituted new company policies focusing on transparency and ethical business practices. Every major decision is now reviewed by an ethics committee that includes employees from all levels of the company. Dad would have loved that. He always said our employees were our greatest asset. The research division has become our crown jewel, developing technologies that help people around the world. We've started a scholarship program in Dad's name, helping young innovators learn both the technical and ethical sides of business. Sometimes, late at night when I'm working in my office, not Dad's, I kept my own, I look at his picture on the wall and imagine what he would think of everything that's happened. I can almost hear his voice. Keep building, Alex, not just products, but trust, integrity, and community. The company's success has exceeded even Dad's ambitious goals, but more importantly, we've stayed true to his vision of ethical innovation and employee-first policies. The board has become a true partner in maintaining this vision, with several members telling me they wish they'd recognized Marcus's true nature earlier. Last week, we hosted our annual company picnic, a tradition Dad started when the company was just 10 people in a garage. Now, with over 500 employees and their families attending, it's quite an event. As I watched children playing, colleagues laughing together, and teams collaborating on fun projects, I realized this was Dad's true legacy, not just a successful company, but a community. The recording device that exposed Marcus's plans wasn't just a tool for revealing the truth, it was Dad's final lesson about leadership. Sometimes leading means watching quietly, gathering facts, and acting decisively when the moment is right. We've maintained the Mitchell family name on the company, but it now stands for something bigger than just our family. It represents the values Dad instilled: integrity, innovation, and treating everyone like family, real family, not the kind that tries to steal what isn't theirs. The garage where it all started has been preserved as a museum of sorts, showing employees and visitors where Mitchell Innovations began. Dad's old workbench is still there, complete with the burn marks from my first attempts at soldering. It reminds everyone that great things can come from humble beginnings, as long as you build them on a foundation of truth and integrity. As for me, I've learned that leadership isn't about being the loudest or most charismatic person in the room. It's about staying true to your values, protecting what matters, and ensuring that success is measured not just in dollars, but in the lives you improve along the way. Dad's final gift wasn't just the company or the recordings that saved it. It was the lesson that true leadership means being willing to stand up for what's right, even when it means standing against your own family. Marcus never understood that, but I carry it with me every day. The future of Mitchell Innovations is brighter than ever, built on the foundation Dad created and protected by the truth he helped reveal. Every time I walk into our research lab or see our products helping people, I know we're continuing his legacy the right way. And that recording device on my wall? It's not just a reminder of how we exposed the truth, it's a symbol of Dad's wisdom in knowing that sometimes the best way to protect what matters is to let the truth speak for itself.